Hello, everyone, from the Mount Morris Digital Studio here in Fresno, California. This is the Beem and Dean Show. We're up to episode 109 on this May 6th with the sports director of KSEE24 and CBS47 and the jack of all trades we're learning tonight, moving around, moving and shaking. Scott Bemis, I'm Dean Schiro. He's also the hottest man we've ever seen, ladies and gentlemen. A new record. Let's show it. Here it is, to give the man his due. Look at that. Started with $1,000 in fictitious money. Turns it in. These are all plays he gave on the show, ladies and gentlemen, to $14.88 and 0 cents. Congratulations, Scotty.
What's that line in Seinfeld?
It's actually final May balance, or what do we? No, final April balance. But yeah.
Okay, yeah, no, April was unbelievable.
Yeah, we'll see how May goes, but yeah, April balance.
That was the final April balance. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I got the win there. I was up $488 for the month there in our fictitious contest.
Yes.
That was a new record. But what do they say? Water eventually finds its level, Dean. Because you're going to find out. I gave a play to Dean earlier tonight, and I think maybe the heat is wearing off here. I'm not so hot anymore tonight.
We'll see. It's not over yet, but congratulations, Scotty. That's damn impressive. Yours truly. I'm going to say, in my defense, Jason Tatum did not come back into the game. I think he would have hit these numbers. Still would have lost. But anyway, I'll take the 0. It's all good. We're moving on.
You went for it, Dean. I like that. You went for the win.
I went for it.
All in on the last day
Jason Tatum did not come back into the game. So, dear Lord. So we move on. So on to May. So we've already crossed the Cinco de Mayo. It's already over. We're on May 6th already. We got a couple coming in hot takes, and let's get right to them. All right, Scott, we'll start with yours. So the hockey playoffs are firing away. It's been great so far, but there's two things that you noticed in particular. One of them, which I never really heard about this until that Anaheim-Vegas game a couple nights ago.
Yeah,
Fill us in on the embellishment.
I just thought it was interesting, Dean. Like, we don't talk a ton of hockey here on this show, but it's NHL playoff season, right? It's really starting to heat up. There's some good action going on out there, and then one of those Western series, Vegas and Anaheim. My little brother's a big Anaheim Ducks fan. Grew up near, Anaheim,
sure.
And so thought I'd check in on their third period the other night in Game 1. And there were a couple things that caught my attention. There was one thing that I liked. There was one thing that I didn't like, and so that's what I'm hot about here today. The first thing that I liked. Let's go with that. All right. You know you can get an embellishment penalty in hockey?
I have watched hockey my whole life. I have never heard of the embellishment penalty until you filled me in.
Well, in the third period, there was a holding call that was called, I believe, on Anaheim on a Vegas skater who was trying to kind of get loose, and he was being held, okay. and the skater went like this and really embellished the penalty. Now, they still called a penalty, on the player for the Ducks who was holding him.
Oh, gotcha.
But they also called a penalty, and all of a sudden I heard a new term, embellishment.
Never heard of that
2 minutes
before.
in the box. And you know what? I love this. If you're listening, NBA, let's get the embellishment tech in play here. Okay. All right? If you embellish at all in the NBA, it should be a technical foul, in my opinion.
Okay.
All right? You can still call the foul on the defender if you think it's a foul, right?
Okay.
But if they embellish and you do the James Harden throw the arms in the air, or the SGA, bounce off like, they're being assaulted out there in the lane when they're just getting hit slightly, to me, that should be a penalty on you. So I love hockey for doing this. Embellishment penalty. They should bring this into soccer, by the way, as well.
I like that too. What would the penalty be in soccer?
Yellow card, baby.
Oh, yellow card. Okay, fair enough.
2 of them,
fair
you're
enough.
gone. 2 of them, you're gone. I don't think red card for 1, but 2 of them and they're gone.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, and now we get to the icing rule.
Okay, so now I don't know how many people know the icing rule who are listening to us, but icing in hockey, right, is when you throw the puck in before you reach the red line into the zone, and it doesn't touch a teammate until it crosses that line, what would you call it, the goal line there at the end of the ice.
Yeah, the blue line or whatever.
And usually it comes back another face off at the other end, right? You're not allowed to do that. You have to cross the red line before you dump a puck in if you want it to cross that line. Well, the other night in this game, Dean, there was an icing call that looked like it was going to be a clear icing call, but it was waved off by the officials, like right before the 2 guys who were racing after the puck got there. Now, if the offensive team gets to the puck first, right, the way it stands right now, it's no icing.
Right, it's waved off.
But for some reason, they give officials the subjective, and I know this is true. I mean, I've watched enough hockey. I know that they have the option of waving it off. But what happened here was they waved off the icing. The Ducks defender thought it was a clear icing, as did the rest of his teammates. They kind of stopped, and it led to the go-ahead goal in the third period for the Vegas Golden Knights. And so I don't know. I just don't know why icing is subjective. I mean, why are you giving that much power to the official, right? Like in that regard, like, and that can affect the game. Like, just have it be if you throw the puck into the zone and no one touches it before it crosses that line, and it's going to be icing. Just have it be icing. Don't have like, if there's a race for the puck and one guy's going to get there before the other or something like that. It's not. I don't know. It's kind of a random thing, but it kind of had me hot for a little bit, just because I think in sports we should be more about like really defining rules, right? And occasionally there's room for a gray area, in some subjective calls. But in this case, like, to me, it puts too much power in the hands of the official to come up with the right call. And boy, was that a big non-call in this game, because it ended up leading to the game-winning goal.
Right. And another question. So since you were watching this game, so you cannot review that for a reverse ruling? Or can you?
Well, because I don't know what the exact rules are with regards to. I'm guessing because it was a subjective call that you can't review it, right? Kind of like a, like a pass interference call or something like that. Like it's one guy might see it one way, another guy might see it the other. Usually when you review things, it's kind of clear cut. Did the puck cross the line? Right.
Which did happen in a game earlier in these playoffs.
Right.
Yeah,
but I mean, I don't know. It brings up another issue. We don't have to go into the weeds on this.
You're good.
But just, I've never kind of understood why icing even exists in hockey. Why have that rule to begin with? I don't know. Maybe somebody who understands the finer points of the game a little better than I do could explain it to me.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like soccer with the offsides thing, right?
They're just trying to prevent cherry picking, basically. I think you've got to skate, and you can't just camp out down there in your offensive end and just wait for the puck to get there. You've got to skate back and go. And if the puck crosses the blue line, you got to get everyone back and go back in. So same thing with the icing rule. They really just want to kind of keep the flow of the game moving. That's what I've always determined it to be. But I agree with you on the subjectiveness of icing. Sometimes you'll see the goalie actually wave their stick up, trying to get the call, or trying to, there's little things like you'll see the goalie try to touch the puck to keep time moving, because obviously there's some interesting things about icing though, which I do like, and I'll mention really quick, is like you cannot substitute if you are the icing team. If you're the team that ices the puck, you cannot substitute your players until the next face-off.
Interesting. I did not know that. I've watched hockey my whole life, and I did not know that.
Right. Yeah. So you cannot substitute on icing. So like if you are defending, you're able to ice the puck, right? In terms of if there's a penalty against your team. But late in a game, if you're holding a lead and you're trying to hold that lead and you throw the puck down there, you cannot substitute your guys until the next face-off. Then you can, do the move. So that's pretty interesting. I'll get to mine really quick. So Scotty will like mine as well. It's about the state of golf. We talked in earlier shows about the PIF, or the Saudi backing Live Golf a league looks like it's kind of crumbling. The PIF has already announced that they're not going to fund the league after this year. We've already had several players already come back to the PGA Tour. I think the PGA Tour has never been stronger because of the competition from Live, we've talked about this before, increasing prize money, the strength of the game, Ryder Cup, all this kind of stuff. So, Scotty, I guess I have a question really for you is what will happen? We heard about John Rahm possibly not being able to come back to the PGA Tour because he has a 3-year contract, but we're not sure if that contract would stand up in court. What is the state of golf in your opinion, and what will happen to these Live guys?
Well, I think it's up to the PGA Tour. The PGA Tour holds all the power in this situation. They've won, in my opinion, right? They've won the battle here. And there was an opportunity, it seemed like, for a while. It seemed like Liv was actually making some headway there and was sort of making the PGA Tour a little nervous about, the endless pockets of the Saudi Arabian PIF fund, and all that stuff. And would we ever be able to compete with this if literally they don't care how much money they lose, and they're going to keep pumping money into this for the next decade or whatever. And so I think that's why probably Jay Monahan, who was the commissioner at the time, approached, Liv and maybe talked about, coming together in some way. Now, in the end, they were able to secure their own financing, the PGA Tour, outside of that, right? They basically got what they were looking for from talking with LIV as far as a huge influx of money into the PGA Tour without having to bring LIV on. So now they hold all the cards in this situation, because if LIV goes away, which it's never going to be what it was, and it wasn't even that great of a thing to begin with in the United States. There is, I've said it before, there is something there with internationally with this. They've had a couple tournaments, successfully, kind of launch internationally that have been cool events, but in the United States, it has no foothold whatsoever. Correct. No foothold whatsoever. It's just, I don't know why that is necessarily, but it's just the truth of the matter. They're not getting eyeballs on their product. And so it's going to be up to the PGA Tour to decide, how do we want to treat this? Do we want to, kind of allow someone like Bryson DeChambeau to come back in with a little lesser penalty? Now, you kind of open up a Pandora's box there, because if you...
poor Brooks Koepka, he's paying the whole full amount, right, currently.
Yeah, if you say later, John Rahm, come back, you only have to pay $1 million fine or give $1 million, and then all these other guys are going to go, hey, what are we doing here, right? So... I don't know. I don't know what the future of golf is, and I would also say that PGA Tour never being stronger. I don't know if that's truly the case. They're winning this battle with LIV, right? But I think they might have overextended themselves a little bit in reaction to LIV. Okay. With the purses and everything else. I mean, there were some people laid off. I don't know if that had something to do with it. At the PGA Tour, but I mean, the PGA Tour, in my opinion, is stronger if you've got Bryson DeChambeau, John Rahm included in the mix, right? Guys like that, Cam Smith, even Dustin Johnson types, major champions who could be out there. And so I don't know. I don't know if the PGA Tour is stronger. They have won the battle with LIV, but I don't know if they're stronger overall pre-LIV.
I would just kind of say the state of golf is stronger. I think we'll find that out here. I mean, obviously the Masters was amazing this last year. I think now we've got the PGA of America coming up, the PGA Championship, U.S. Open, and then they go overseas. I think part of the reason LIV has kind of struggled is because there's not enough great American golfers that really took the hook and ladder, who took the bait on it. Yes, Bryson went over, but overall, it was a lot of guys that were DP guys, European guys. So, I mean, that's just kind of my opinion of it. I just think another thing was not getting a strong foothold in the United States. Great locations for some of these tournaments internationally, going to Australia and going to, but United States, they never really locked in. They were in Portland, they were in Miami. There was no real foothold. Never really got into some of the best courses in America, like Pebble or.
Yeah, that's true. I think some of it is I don't know if there's enough of a market for two competing tours in the country, right? At the same time. I think that's one problem. I mean, I think there may be. Some kind of international thing that maybe we learn from this, that maybe the PGA Tour should start being a little more international in its thinking. And that's the one thing I think that actually is coming out of this, is because of LIV, you've seen the PGA Tour really start to rethink how they're doing things. So what Phil Mickelson kind of was talking about for years, right, and complaining about and this and that, sort of came to fruition. He's gotten changes with the PGA Tour. Unfortunately, he's had to kind of take the sword, right, and go down with the sword. Right. But yeah, I mean, I think it's going to get the PGA Tour. I mean, you're seeing it right now. They've rethought their tournament structure. Right. They've
elevated
events.
Some tournaments. Yes.
I mean, they're kind of in the process of doing that right now. Right. And I think that part of it has been good. When I say the PGA Tour, maybe I don't know, if it's stronger than it was pre-LIV. It's more of just you've kind of taken a couple of their stars away.
Right. I think the point I'm trying to make, though, is they're more unified. It's not just Rory out there speaking. It's they're all kind of seem like they're extremely unified under the PGA flag. And before LIV started, there was a lot of talk and criticism of the PGA Tour. That's what I kind of meant. Yeah. I'm not saying they're stronger in terms of not having John Rahm and those guys on the tour makes it stronger. I think they're just stronger in unification. Because I think Rory was out there kind of waving the flag by himself for a while.
Gosh,
and then he was going, hey, why am I the only guy? And then they're talking about possibly merging the two without even involving any of the current PGA, members. So that's what I kind of mean, I just in terms of stronger, They're
more unified. I see what you're saying.
Better purses. All the things that they were griping about, So
it'll be interesting to see if maybe the PGA Tour, like if once this all gets settled, hopefully, and maybe 3, 4, 5 years down the road, if they kind of consider maybe going a little more international, maybe trying to incorporate a little team golf, maybe nationalistic team golf. I think that's the key to team golf. Is nationalistic team golf, not just some random put 4 guys together, but like in LIV when they have the teams that are like the South Africans, and the Koreans or the Latin American countries, kind of coming together. It feels like bigger in that sense, right?
I get it. I think another thing that kind of hurt them really quick is just people didn't understand the rule structure, because on the team aspect. With the Ryder Cup, the team structure. With the President's Cup, the team structure. I think a lot of people were confused on how do the teams compete against each other and LIV? Like, how does it go? Because I still don't really know how the teams compete.
I think ultimately, and I'm from someone who watches a lot of LIV, a lot of PGA Tour.
Yeah.
It's really not that difficult. I think ultimately, Dean, people just didn't want to learn.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It wasn't that they couldn't understand. It's just okay. Like you have to be a really big golf fan, to kind of search out LIV and find it,
Yeah,
and so in this country at least. And I think there was so much negativity initially from it was kind of a global geopolitical thing, right, with Saudi Arabian money and all this stuff. And the PGA Tour really kind of leaned into that narrative. And I think that created a bunch of negativity, fairly or unfairly, around LIV. But I think people they just didn't have the attention span to really get into, a completely different brand of golf, even if the product wasn't that bad.
Right. Okay. Fair enough. All right. NBA playoffs have been good. Let's just do a little report card check here. We're starting the second round now. We've gotten through the first round. Several series went 7 games. It was kind of, in my opinion, it was kind of lukewarm. Like the series went 7 games, but most of the games were blowouts. Like there were very few competitive games in the first round. So what's your take on the NBA right now and the playoff structure?
I think as long as you get like game 6s and game 7s, I'm okay with it. You can never really predict a blowout. Some of those game 7s are hard to, it's hard for the road team sometimes in those scenarios, right? Because there's so much energy in the building, like in a game 7.
Right.
And, you're basically getting guys playing every possession like it's the Final Four in the NBA, right? And I mean, you're seeing it, the Spurs, game 2 against the T-Wolves going on right now.
Yeah.
The T-Wolves have like 35 points in the first half or something.
Yeah.
You're seeing the Spurs on every defensive possession in that game. It's not a game 7, but you're seeing it's kind of they're down a game at home. Their backs are against the wall. They got to win this game.
Yeah, you can't lose 2 in a row at home.
And when you see NBA type athleticism playing defense, especially when you got an eraser at the back end like Wembanyama, I mean, it's crazy, Dean, right? Like when guys come into the lane, I mean, it's so hard to get a shot, and you could see it going through their heads too when they're getting in the lane against Victor. That I've got to kind of create some space, or I got to figure out a way to get this shot over him. It's amazing how he's changing the game.
It's crazy.
Defensively.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
He had 10 blocks in the last game of the Portland series, 12 blocks in the first game of the Minnesota series. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, no,
10 and 12? I mean, that's just insane. Just blocks. We're not talking rebounds. We're talking blocks. Block shots. It's really crazy. I agree with you, though. It's been great. I mean, shoot, I'll watch it even if it's a blowout. It just kind of affects the betting numbers, in terms of daily fantasy, but that's a whole
What's
separate
been
issue.
the biggest surprise for you so far in the playoffs?
The Celtics blowing a 3-1 lead.
Yeah.
With really having a healthy roster. I mean, yeah, Tatum was in and out. He didn't play in Game 7, but he played well enough in the opening games, I thought, to win that series. Them losing at home, we're talking about Game 7s. They were the only home team to lose the Game 7. So, yeah, Celtics being out, really, because they were really a favorite, in my opinion, to win the championship again. So,
I mean, it's kind of opened the door.
I didn't put any futures money on the Celtics.
Yeah,
but,
so it's opened the door for the Knicks a little bit, and I think there's a ton of juice in New York suddenly.
Yeah.
And I mean, how about Jalen Brunson too? Just you consider
I love his
small
game.
Man in the NBA, like a guy like Jalen Brunson, how he can dominate a game.
Yeah.
Kind of like a Steph Curry. It really is amazing. It's a little different than Steph. He kind of does it with angles and body movement. And kind of you step backs and this and that, but not so much like long distance all the time. And
he's a guy that'll get in the lane and make twos. Steph will occasionally too, but he's more the rain it out.
Shows how hard it is too to predict who's going to be a star in the NBA.
True.
Because you watch Jalen Brunson at college, very good player at Villanova.
Yeah.
I liked him at Villanova,
Yeah.
but I would have never pegged him for a top 10 player in the NBA, you know,
Yeah.
top 10 scorer in the NBA.
Yeah. Yeah, especially on that team too. I mean, honestly, to kind of be the cream of the crop of that team, you know.
Yeah,
honestly.
and he's New York tough too,
Oh,
right?
he is. Oh, listen, I love his game. I love everything he stands for. You know, I really respect him. All right, speaking of respect, we've got the Fresno Falcons hockey team, Scotty, are back. They're coming back to Selland. I guess the question I got here for you is, you know, they succeeded, you know, several times in the past, in the history of Fresno. Can they succeed again? I mean, what's your thoughts? You went to the press conference, so give me a little insight.
I mean, I see Jerry Dyer, and I'm a big fan of the mayor of Fresno.
Me too.
And I really see him trying to not only infuse downtown, you know, with cool stuff, you know,
Right.
going on,
Right.
but also like Jerry feels like a sports fan, right? And
Oh, yeah.
he's pushing stuff. You know, he's pushing soccer in Fresno. Now he's you know, helping to launch hockey again.
Right.
I think when you got somebody like that, right, in leadership in the city of Fresno, right, and they're playing, you know, in a place like Selland Arena, which I think is city owned.
I believe so. I believe so.
I don't know the total logistics on that.
I believe so.
But
yeah.
you know, he's going to try to make this work, right?
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, I think hockey might have a little better chance of succeeding than, say, soccer, right? Long term, right? Not. I have nothing against soccer. I mean, this is a great area for soccer, the Central Valley.
Right.
It's just hard to get people to go to professional soccer games consistently outside of like the hardcore. Hockey's one of those things, like when you see it one time in person, you want to come back.
Oh, that's
right?
great. Yeah.
You know, and it's an event. It's you know, you got fights, you got stuff like it's like
Right.
it's you know, whatever you thoughts are on fighting in hockey. I mean, you can't take your eyes off it when it's happening, right?
Sure.
And
Yeah.
so I think it has a chance to succeed. I still think it's a little different than, say, 2005 or, you know, 90s, you know, when with the Fresno Falcons and this and that,
Yeah.
in the sense that there's just so many different options, and it feels like the next generation hasn't known hockey in Fresno for a long
True.
time. So they're going to kind of have to be reintroduced to it.
Right.
And so I think it has a chance to succeed.
Okay.
I hope it succeeds.
I do too.
Now, when I say succeeds, I would just like to see it be viable.
Right.
You know, like it doesn't have to be selling out or anything. Just be viable.
Right.
Have 3,000 to 4,000 people there for most home games, and I think that would be a success.
Yeah, and then team success too. I mean, obviously, you
Yeah.
know, we've won the Taylor Cup before, and I remember I was here for that. It was an amazing thing. It was a huge accomplishment. So, love to see that again. Love to see Fresno thriving. And yeah, the mayor. If anyone's going to give us a chance, it's going to be Mayor Dyer for sure, because he's really, you know, he's very supportive of all these Fresno ventures. And not just that, but the arts and entertainment as well. So, all right, one more topic before we get to our money plays. Rule changes in college football. So, the Collegiate Coaches Association, I'm not sure what it's called, but 4 major rule changes they're looking for. I've kind of got them spelled out here. Ending conference championships is 1. Only 1 bye week is number 2. Other games played on the Army-Navy Day is number 3. And then no fewer than 6 days between games. And possibly expansion being imminent being the 5th thing. But that's pretty much what they laid out. What are your thoughts, Scott? We've talked about, you know, changes in the calendar before, but from what you see, what do you like? What do you not like?
Well, I think it's kind of interesting that a group of, you know, former coaches, you know, coaches association, and there might be some current coaches on there too. I'm not 100% sure, but I find it interesting that they would be in favor of getting rid of conference championship games, right? And so that kind of tells me something that, yeah, maybe the time for conference championship games has come and gone, especially with the expanded playoff, or find a different way to decide your conference champion.
Right. Well, some people will debate, are we going to have conferences for much longer? So maybe that's leading into that. We've talked about super conferences, you know, so where you just have 48 teams that all pretty much are listed on that from 1 to 48, and they're all part of that group that can win a national championship. So, yeah, we'll see what happens here. I mean, I think there's bigger issues with the calendar we still haven't figured out, and we've been over this many times with NIL and transfer portal and how many times could you transfer. I think those are bigger, more pressing issues, but these are good things as well. Like, I don't understand why there's 2 bye weeks. You know, it really stretches the season out. The championship game this year was on January 19th. Next year is even going to be later.
Yeah.
So I think by 2027, they really want to kind of tighten this thing up.
Well, I think they bring up a great point about the length of time between, you know, the conference championship games as they exist right now, and then, you know, say the New Year's Day games, right? There's those first round playoff games in between. But I think the greatest time for college football to shine is in the month of December, not necessarily in January once we're kind of into the NFL playoffs. Like, I think it should all build towards a crescendo of January 1st, in a way.
Sure.
I wouldn't mind having the championship game on January 1st and having, quarterfinals and semifinals over that Christmas break. I mean, we're all talking about college football during that time, right?
Yeah.
Historically, it's been bowl games.
Right.
But if you give them a week off, maybe after the regular season, and then let's get right into it and let's make it happen. That they mentioned the Army-Navy game. They like that it has its standalone presence there, right? So the Army-Navy game has always been on that weekend after the conference championship games by itself.
Sure.
And that's out of respect, and I get it,
right.
For that game. And it's an unbelievable game, and it's great pageantry.
It is.
But you know what? You can have the Army game stand by itself in its own time slot that day,
right.
and then play college football championship game or playoff games after that, right? So I'll play the Army-Navy game at 9 a.m.
Give it the 9 a.m. or the 12:30 window exclusively, and then and
so
then
it's like the Rose Bowl in the middle of the day, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So I agree with you on that. I do. I really just want to see more issues. I want to see some of these transfer issues taken care of and more issues with the calendar. That way that a lot of current coaches have spoken out about. So we'll see what happens. All right, let's get into our money plays. All right, so Scotty's got one play.
I was looking behind me.
Game's currently going on. Last I saw, it was like 74 to 40 something, Scotty. So I don't know if this one's gonna. Okay, there we go. It's 75 to 51.
Yeah, it looks like we're gonna have tees on somebody.
Here's the play that Scott created before the game started.
I told Dean to give me. I was gonna ride with the T-Wolves again in game 2, get 9.5. It just felt like a lot. Unfortunately, like I said, the heater I think might be over because the Spurs have come out like a band of angry wolves against the Wolves tonight.
I like that, by the way. Double entendre.
Yeah. Playing some incredible D. And so it looks like this one's going to go down in flames, although there's still a chance. You're saying there's a chance.
There's time. There's a lot of time left, so we'll see what happens there. So I don't have a whole lot of plays either. I just got 3. So tomorrow night, Thunder Lakers, I give the Lakers absolutely no shot of winning this series, and I give them absolutely no shot of winning Game 2 in Oklahoma City. Not only do I not give them a shot to win the game, I think the Thunder will cover again. No Luka Doncic at the earliest. It looks like it's 3 more weeks. I don't know if the Lakers season's going to extend 3 more weeks. Listen, they did a great job getting this far. I hope I'm wrong. I'm a huge diehard Laker fan, but the Thunder are so good. They're great shooters. They don't miss. Everyone knows their role on this team, Scott. I think that's why they're a championship team. Like, no one's trying to jump out of their roles. Everyone goes down their lane, Shea's got his thing. Jalen Williams has got his thing. The other Williams knows how to rebound. You got Isaiah Joe shoot threes. You got Caruso, who's a great defensive guy. You got the 2 big guys, Hartenstein and Holmgren. They know their roles. They're there to rebound and put balls in. So,
I think.
Go ahead. Yeah.
I was just gonna say,
Please.
LeBron. What did he have? 37 or something the other night?
He had a monster game.
He had a monster game in game
really
1,
well.
and they still lost.
I know.
By 18 or whatever it was.
I thought they played really well. I really did. Thought they D'd them up really good. They frustrated them in the first half, but unfortunately they're still down 10. So go figure. All right, going back to the tennis world, Scotty. We got the Italian Open here going on in Rome.
The French coming up here in a couple weeks.
So I got Iva Jovic and Ignacio Bus.
Yeah, I was going to say, Ignacio, I have not seen this name before, so I don't know how to pronounce it, actually.
I think it's Bus, but I've been watching this tournament, so shout out to my guy, Aaron. He's been in sales, been amazing, so gave me a couple tips here, so let's try to do that. A little
doubles
combo.
Play here? Is this what we got? A doubles play?
It's a doubles. They both got to win, so 50 to win 56.
No, I'm talking about Anisimova and Quinn. Are they playing together?
No. These are individual matches, and they both have to win parlay style.
I thought we had some doubles
shout
action.
Shout out to Ethan Quinn, Sam McKee Memorial Zone. Been playing really, really good tennis. He's got to win his match. So 25 to win 70. And then the Flyers down 2-0 to the Hurricanes. Just give me them straight out, 25 to win 35. So any last thoughts, Scotty, before we got to go?
I wish it was a doubles play because that would have been our first doubles wager on Beem and Dean.
Maybe I'll see if I can come up up with something here. I'm starting to follow tennis a lot closer, so we'll see what happens there. Come on back, guys. Next Wednesday night, we'll have more stuff. Scotty will have more plays. Congratulations on the great month of April, and we'll be back.
Easing into May here.
There we go. So we'll be back next Wednesday. Thanks a lot.